Is it possible to build a business in less than 280 characters? If you're on Twitter, you'll have undoubtedly seen many novelty accounts that share funny observations. In fact, if you're on almost any social media platform, you'll have seen them because the funniest tweets often get screenshot and shared on other platforms like Instagram and Facebook. But have you ever thought about how these novelty accounts grow into such giants and what they could go on to become? In this episode of the It Started With Content case study series, I'm sharing the story of not one but two people who started Twitter accounts with nothing but jokes in mind and then grew them into very serious businesses. Let me introduce you to Dominic McGregor, co-founder of Social Chain. Now, would you believe that the first person in this case study started his Twitter journey posting about toilet roll? Yes, that's right, about toilet roll. Now, today Dominic McGregor is known as the co-founder and ex-COO of Social Chain, a hugely well-known and successful social media company with a client portfolio including the likes of Amazon and the BBC and McDonald's. So how did tweeting about toilet paper get Dominic to where he is today? Let's take it back to 2013. Dominic was a student at Edinburgh University and, like all students, was coming face to face with the problems of living by yourself for the first time, and this included running out of toilet paper. Now, on a whim, Dominic started the Twitter account at Student Problems. Looking back now, he says that Twitter was surging in popularity at the time, and he saw his relatable student experience as an opportunity to capitalise on this. So he started tweeting about his hilarious observations about his day-to-day student life. Everything from what it's like living with strangers to the only post you receive being from the TV licensing company, and using hashtags like #UniversityProblems helped students from the UK and further afield find Dominic's hilarious observations. And they were so relatable that people started retweeting and replying and sharing the funny tweets with their friends. The account's popularity spread like wildfire, and at Student Problems following grew and grew. While some people have described Dominic's hilarious Twitter venture as an overnight success, Dominic shared on his LinkedIn that he actually put in quite a lot of work. He said that it took him 400 tweets and 2 months to reach 400 followers, and that's a lot of tweeting. But over time it really paid off and caught the attention of budding entrepreneur Stephen Bartlett. Originally, Stephen got in touch with Dominic to discuss promoting his online student forum on the Twitter account, and this resulted in so much traffic to Stephen's website that both Dominic and Stephen saw a whole new business opportunity, and then Social Chain was born. The initial concept for the business was directly influenced by Dominic's Twitter account, because his Student Problems tweets proved that it was possible to grow a social media account to the point that you powerfully drive traffic with a single tweet. They realised that people trusted these accounts because they weren't directly selling or positioned as businesses, they were just providing content that people liked. And because people liked the account, it meant they were more likely to follow a link that account posted. So Dominic and Stephen teamed up and formed Social Chain, and their idea was to recruit more owners of popular social media accounts and use them to promote brands. And they grew formidably fast. In fact, there was just a year between Dominic setting up the Student Problems account on Twitter and Social Chain securing investment funding. Now, 7 years later, and Dominic has now left Social Chain to pursue other ventures, but the business remains one of the strongest in the industry, employing over 750 people in 3 different countries and turning over hundreds of millions in revenue each year. And maybe, just maybe, none of that would have happened if Dominic hadn't tweeted as a down on his luck student about running out of toilet roll. Now, if that story isn't enough to convince you of the true power of Twitter, there is one more brilliant example I absolutely have to mention. And actually, I've already shared this story before because it's such a great example of repurposing your tweets into something much bigger. Introducing you to Rob Temple of Very British Problems. Now, is there anyone on Twitter who hasn't seen at least one retweet of this hilarious account? Now, Very British Problems has a whopping 3.9 million Twitter followers and has been a prominent novelty account on the site since 2012. That's right, it's reigned supreme in the Twitter sphere for nearly 10 years. And the account was started by journalist Rob Temple after his editor suggested he should set up an account on the social media platform. In a completely unrelated twist, Rob's friend then sent him a list of 20 funny things that Brits do, and Rob thought there were way more than 20 and was inspired to combine this idea with a Twitter account. So the Very British Problems Twitter account was an instant hit, like so many social media accounts can only dream of being, because in one day the account gained 1,000 followers, and after just a month of tweeting snippets of his dry British wit, Rob Temple's joke Twitter account had more than 100,000 followers, and he'd been contacted by a book agent. So what rocketed the Very British Problems account to success? I believe it was 3 things. So firstly, Rob's tweets were expertly written. He is a journalist after all, so he was really playing to his strengths. Secondly, it was a perfect niche. Rob was both talking about and aiming his content at the awkward British population and poking fun at our self-deprecating culture, so it was a comedy match made in heaven. And third, he kept his content short. His one-liners were not only great comedy devices, but they're great examples of why micro content is so impactful. It makes your audience feel something in a short space of time and means that they're more likely to take action such as retweeting or following your account. So think about it like a gut reaction. If you can instantly move your audience to laughter, then why wouldn't they want to follow you? And Rob's Twitter account is now the epicenter of an entire Very British Problems brand. There are other social media accounts on Instagram and Facebook, a column in the prominent UK newspaper The Telegraph, and there's even been a TV show based on the tweets. But it doesn't stop there. There's also very British products, including greeting cards, mugs and games and so much more. So Rob's greatest repurposing achievement, in my opinion, has to be his series of books. After being initially approached not long after setting up the Twitter account, Rob has written 3 volumes of Very British Problems, all launching to rave reviews on Amazon, and he's also gone on to publish a memoir, which has been equally well received. So while he may still be tweeting about the weather and cups of tea, Rob's British content journey is one we can all learn from. Now, both Rob and Dominic may have started their Twitter accounts by tweeting about their problems, but if one thing is for sure, it's that when you start with content, you'll certainly find solutions along the way.